Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, I should have said to everyone. Welcome to Ethics in Financial Management, presented by Rutgers and yours truly, Dominic Savini. I want to welcome you to the class and just go over some of the more general questions you probably have, and we'll get into more specifics as we go in week by week. But you've registered for this class, and I know you were required to take the class. The program there at Rutgers is an excellent program for government accountants in particular. Accounting in general, but there's a niche for those of us serving in public service. And Rutgers has really done a great job. And Professor Smith, who designed this course, really elevated ethics to where it needs to be. It's not a list of do's and don'ts. Um, it's more of a course designed to help you determine what to do and what not to do by looking inside and determining who we are as people, our values, um, whether or not the means justify the outcome or the outcome is really dependent upon a more virtuous and correct route, meaning we might not be able to guarantee an outcome because we're following certain principles and precepts that we believe are critical. So let me just say, the big picture of this course is this is about learning who you are and what your values, what your core ethical framework or frameworks may be. You'll find out in this course that, well, depending upon the situation you're in, your ethical framework will probably change, and that's normal. Um, but what underpins your framework should be your core values, and we need to explore those. Some students, as Professor Smith purposely designed the course, will experience great difficulty um, with introspection. Some of us have been hurt as children, some of us have been damaged by society in general, or some of us are just plain narcissistic, sociopathic, and we've gotten this tough exterior. We go to work with a facade or a mask on. We date with a facade or a mask on. We might even be in a marriage or a long term relationship with a facade or a mask on. And we look into a mirror, we don't necessarily see who we are. We see who we wish we want other people to see who we are. And this course, if it's taken the right way, will be extremely beneficial to you, especially if you're younger or even if you're older and you haven't really kind of thought about certain things that may have happened to you. Um, so we're going to help you because my job is to help probe. Um, and an important thing you're going to notice in this class is that you'll be journaling a bit and emailing me in Canvas, not at Rutgers, not at my job, but within Canvas, within the application called Canvas. You will be emailing me in my inbox your journal entry responses to several questions. And I'll be looking at those and I'll select some and probably come back and probe you a bit. Um, this is a safe space in the sense that no one will see these entries except me. They will be deleted afterwards, not saved. They won't be in the system, in other words, at least not within the official course. I'll have to delete them from the Canvas email and my own if I were to basically review them on my screen here. Uh, so you're guaranteed a safe space. Now, I don't need to know details, and preferably don't share those details with me, okay? But in general, I've had students talk to me about their childhood, abusive parents, parents who were almost criminal, if not criminal, and teaching their children, hey, it's okay to lie and steal and cheat because it's a dog eat dog world. And if you don't do it, they'll do it to you. So you better get out there and you do it. That's what one student told me. Another student admitted to having an adulterous affair. I guess an affair would be adultery if you're married, right? And the reason why she did it was because her husband cheated on her. So she decided she was going to cheat on him, destroyed their marriage, and she ultimately remarried, but very, it's a thing that no one really should want to ever go through. I could tell you other stories that have come, but these have been students who have really looked deep down and in this course and said, these traumatic experiences have taught me something. They've taught me that I have a weakness, maybe, one to either be pre-programmed to lie, steal, or cheat like mom and dad, or to retaliate and seek revenge, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth kind of thing. And if he did this to me, I'm going to do this to him so he can feel the pain kind of thing. Um, and those are biases, those are weaknesses. So understand um, that what you put into the course, you'll get back. Now, I've had to revamp the course entirely because of AI, and we all know why, right? So some of you are going to go through this, skip the readings. Some of you will use AI to summarize the readings, and you kind of get a general idea, and then you're going to hope and pray for the best when you take the 3 exams that are in the class. Um, and I think that the majority of you will do that. Most people I've seen, including myself, when under pressure, we look to cut corners, we look to take shortcuts. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you do that, your outcome might be good, unquestionably, but not going through the basics, you do lose. Okay? It's like going to the gym and trying to work out. A lot of workouts are just meant to make us psychologically feel good, um, but they're not really, designed to strain and put the muscles under enough tension or pressure to really build muscle or build strength or endurance. Because the hard work that happens in the gym is hard work. And most of us don't like hard work. We try to find a way that, you know, um, can make things a little easier. So I understand that. So my appeal is to maybe 10 to 20% of you, all right? About 3 or 4 of you are really going to hone in on this class. Now, I've taught this class long enough to know that there'll only be several of you that are going to really benefit greatly from this course. This might be one of the best courses you've ever taken if you do it correctly. And it's not because of me. Um, it's because of the way Dr. Smith prepared the course and really thought about it in depth. So, phase one of the course, it's broken into 3 phases, of course. Phase one is a personal introspection. You look inside. What are my biases? What are my weaknesses? Why do I hate certain people? Why do I vote the way I vote? Why do I listen to certain cable news networks and not to others? Why do I shun away from people that look a certain way or act a certain way? Biases and weaknesses, we all have them. And those of you that are into social justice, virtue signaling, understand you have weaknesses and biases just like the rest of us. No one can claim the moral high ground. No one. Um, we're all humans. Remember that. Phase two, you will dig even deeper when you, in phase one, kind of identify your ethical framework and what values and principles you have that you live by, hopefully. In phase two, you'll begin to explore these weaknesses that you have and these biases. and come to address them and develop ways to hopefully cope with them and keep them in check. Because in phase three, we want to help you through the readings determine how do you lead an organization ethically when you yourself are flawed. And in public service now, we're seeing, and this is nothing new, the corruption, whether it's from the White House or to your house, is within us because people are morally bankrupt in some ways, either because they were hurt, pre programmed, or again, selfish, narcissistic, whatever it might be, very materialistic. These things, if not restrained, either by the individual themselves or by the system, grows like a cancer, and you're seeing it. The weaponization of government has existed for a long time. Censorship has existed for a long time within our government. We're just seeing it now ultimately being exposed. When you think about what happened during the COVID lockdown and the crisis that the world was put through, and now evidence is coming and it's being reported, you look at it for yourself. Let us hope we never go back to that period where many people feel they were misled, lied to, and coerced into something that was unproven and unnecessary. So, regardless of what you may think about the situation, if it's not COVID, you can look at other situations that involve the government, whether it's the overreaction of ICE officials in rounding up undocumented or illegal criminals, um, and presumably innocent people were killed. So this is a failure. We say the system, but it really isn't the system. It's a failure of people. So if you feel, for example, voting one way is going to help solve the problem, whether you're voting left, right, center, socialist, communist, fascist, whatever you might think, it's not going to make a difference unless the people have reformed themselves. And this is what ethics is all about. If we can't have ethics individually, good ethics, then how do we expect the social compact to survive? And that's a real issue. We're going to focus on the profession, but this is a broader discussion. So the course is broken into 3 phases. You're going to be required to have 4 books. First is Ethics for Life by Judith Boss. Most of your reading is going to come from the Boss text, okay? And I'll tell you, it's the 6th edition, I believe, of the text that you should be using. Try to save you some money. If you can get it used, it'd be really good. That text will be conceptual, theoretical, explore different ethical frameworks, look at ethics throughout history. It really helps you kind of understand how we develop from children, our character, our moral behavior. Okay. The next textbook will be the Duska book, Accounting Ethics. And this one is really a great book because it's great in the sense for the profession. It talks about the different ways that our codes of conduct, whether it's the AICPA code of conduct, the Institute of Managerial Accountants, their code of conduct, or others, require us as practitioners to put the public trust paramount. Things like confidentiality, right? Due diligence, competence, integrity. Those things are really important to the professional, especially the professional accountant and public administrator. So that accounting ethics is excellent for those of us strictly CPAs, CMAs, CIAs, um, and others. The fun book, the one that will be the basis for your journal entry writing and for your emails to me in Canvas, not the Rutgers email account, Canvas, will come from the plant book, Doing the Right Thing. Here, you will be doing a lot of the introspective work, for example, kind of trying to understand what Judith Boss is saying in the Boss text and personalizing it a bit. Now, I will tell you this, you can do the perfunctory in this class and do well. Just giving me the minimum, that's fine. The standards are what they are. But if you're really looking to come out of the gym, not only pumped, but really stronger, more endurance, um, more confidence, you'll go through the work in plant and really answer those questions thoroughly. Okay. And I'll know by the reading. Okay. The last book, this here is the Menzel book, Ethics Management for Public and Non-Public or Nonprofit Managers. This book, along with the Duska book, the accounting ethics book, should be at your desk or in your library. Those are really two great books. This one talks about structure. It talks about how do we manage, how do we lead an organization that's got human beings working for it, right? So these four texts taken together will help you understand how important ethics is and how incumbent our social compact, our democracy, our very existence depends on good ethical behavior. Okay? So all these texts are listed in the syllabus um, or on the course content page. Please go out and get the books. And again, see if you can get them cheaper through thriftbooks.com or eBay, Amazon. Now, the grading will be, again, quite straightforward. Because of the AI situation, I've decided to just go to 3 exams, and the exams will be under respondus, kind of locked down, proctored, and they're each going to be worth 25 points. Now, I will give you what some of you say are prompts, right? You want clues, you want to know what's going to be on the test. I will generally explain to you what's going to be on the exam, but guaranteed, if you don't do the reading or readings, don't expect to do well on the exams. The exams are based explicitly on the readings. Okay? So, something you could use AI for, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's unethical, you could take these readings and ask Chat, GPT, or Gemini, hey, what kind of questions can Professor Savini possibly ask me for the exam? Now, I know you'd probably do this anyway, and here I'm telling you to do it. I would do it. I mean, go right ahead. And because that's a form of learning, you'll be learning at least. Hopefully, it's not memorizing, but learning. So I encourage you to do that because I'm going to give you some general ideas what will be on the test, but actually, the way I've structured the exam, I'm not sure what questions you're going to get because you're each going to get individual questions. There's a database, a test bank that will randomly select questions for you. So I can't even really tell you. Okay. Um, so 3 proctored exams, 25%, that's 75%. The plant exercises are another 25%, that's your 100% grade, okay? I'll do my best. I can't promise, but I will do my best to try to get you feedback as often as possible. But I'm going to put it on you because I've learned one thing teaching this class. I, I've gone out of my way for all my students, but many of you, just take the class to take it, and you don't want to be bothered by Professor Savini. And some of you don't care if you get a B or a C, you just want to get the class over with. So I'll do my best to answer your questions if you approach me. Okay? I have a 24/7 window. This is an asynchronous course. You can reach me at any time, and I'll try to get back to you within 24 hours. Okay? Um, so your journal entries will be the remaining 25% for a total of 100, and then your discussion threads are voluntary. So here's what I found. Um, the the discussion threads are important for those who really wish to seek a challenge, who want to be made a little uncomfortable. Um, I had a very difficult situation in one class where one student made a statement regarding a certain group of people that was inappropriate. Okay, it was inappropriate for public uh, display. In a private conversation, within context, you could understand this student's frustration. However, you don't label an entire group based upon even a majority of that group. You have to be careful. There are always exceptions. So in that case, I had to navigate and explain to those students that felt insulted where this student came from and how I was able to defend this student, not make excuses for him because he was wrong, was to get the other side to see his weakness, the fact that he wasn't raised in a normal family environment. He grew up in the city. The words he used to express himself were different than words we use in a corporate boardroom. And the people who felt a bit insulted understood. They were like, you know what, Professor, we kind of get it. And they expressed a sentiment that I wish all of you would express. When someone upsets you, when someone is mean to you or hurts you, I want you to F them. You heard me. F them. Forgive them. Start using the right F word. When people make a mistake, don't judge them immediately. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Forgive them. Understand they're misinformed, or they could be misinformed, misjudgment, bad day. Naturally, if there's a pattern of behavior, that's different. But we're too triggered as a society now to find fault with one another. As someone told me who comes from another country, former Soviet bloc country, she comes from Bulgaria. One day she came to see me and she said, Dom, I'm wondering a question. She said, I have a question. I'm wondering. I said, what is it, Sylvia? Why do your American politicians and your American media give you reasons to hate one another every morning? And I said, Sylvia, what do you mean? She said, just watch the news. Just listen to your politicians. She said, this is what the communists did. They got us to hate one another and distrust one another. And that's how they controlled us until we were able to break away. So think about that. Forgiveness. Think about the fact that there are people, there are systems that want to control. And how do they get the control? By keeping us arguing with one another, not liking one another, not loving one another, not forgiving one another. These are very important things you have to learn in life. And so this brings me to um, my concluding thoughts is that this class is for you to grow and maybe heal. And some of you are going to blow it off, and I know that. So I'm not really talking to those of you that, just have already closed. I can't change your minds, okay? I can't reach out there and say, hey, look, this is really to help you. I can't do that. Those of you that kind of feel what I'm saying and hear what I'm saying will understand. It's going to be uncomfortable. You might have to face some demons who hurt you, both figuratively and in real life, and practice that forgiveness. Some of you might have to go to counseling. Um, but that's good. That's how we deal with our weaknesses and our hurts. And why do we focus on you, the human being? Because you make up the system. You make up public administration. You make up public accounting or auditing. And if you don't have that integrity, if you can't deal with your weaknesses and biases, we have real serious problems. Okay? So I want to have you ask yourself, what do you desire? Do you desire doing what you want to do? Or do you desire doing what's right? If you desire doing what's right, it's going to be painful. It's going to hurt. It might cost you a job. It might cost you relationships. But it's a wonderful price to pay for maintaining your integrity and ensuring that a system is operating fairly and treating everyone equally. And that is what that introspection is designed to do. So, again, I want you to reach out to me, whether it's just to monitor your performance, which really is going to be based on the exam. So I won't know how well you're reading, how well you're understanding the material. I'll be able to tell from your journal entries, kind of like what's going on a bit. So really your progress, I can't give you feedback until pretty much I get your journal entries looked at. But when you start taking your exams, and that's pretty much what it's going to be. So if you reach out to me, whether it's for, progress oriented questions or clarification of the reading material, that's fine. You can do that. You send me an email at the Canvas account. We'll set up a little brief appointment time over phone. We can talk about it. Again, I'm not here to pry. I don't need to know your business. I don't want to know your business. I want you to know your business. And I want you to deal with your business the way I had to deal with mine. As I conclude this, I will tell you when I hit an ethical dilemma several years ago, and no one would be there for me. No one was there for me. The specifics involved child pornography, a high ranking official where I was working, and as the CFO, it all fell on me. The inspector general would not help. IT security would not help. The Office of Ethics of the White House would not help. And I believe it's all because of who this person was and who they were connected to. But one thing I knew, that I'd be hung out to dry. I started drinking and I had to catch myself. And it was a very difficult time in my life, but I had to look at why was I drinking? Why was I camouflaging the hurt and the stress? It was a really difficult time. But once I addressed that root cause problem that I had. I was able to cut the liquor, clear my head, get the head back in the game, and I came out. I came out smelling like a rose. It's difficult, okay? There are other situations in my career that I've gone through. I'm not going to tell you all that I've done. You can read my bio, but I have a lot of experience in dealing with public servants, working in public service, and dealing with a plethora of unethical situations and issues. And it has cost me. It's cost me a promotion on another job, which was fine. Again, as a famous Roman Catholic bishop once said, Bishop Fulton Sheen, when he was asked, "Why aren't you a cardinal?" he said, "I don't want to sell my soul to the devil." And with that being said, what price would it take for you to sell your soul to the devil? What weakness or bias would make you offer that price or take that offer? That's the question. Enjoy this course. Reach out to me if you need anything, okay? I'll be putting out videos occasionally as we go through the reading material, try to elucidate some of these concepts. And again, I wish you all my very best, and I hope that you all look at this course in a different way. Just don't look to get it over with. You know, I know I'm kind of speaking to the wind here, but there are at least 3 or 4 of you that I know are going to cling and really grow. And I'm looking forward to meeting you. Stay well, have a great Labor Day, and I will see you, kind of see you, in and out of class. Be good.